What it is, everybody. Well. I will tell you, we might be at the precipice of some serious problems if everything Trump is saying is not true, based on what's been going on in financial markets and stuff. I'm here. Well, etc. We are being fed a lot of different stories. I have to tell you, it's very difficult to follow the news, even for some. Hope you did your taxes yesterday. I did mine. It wasn't as bad as I expected, although it's still confusing. I don't understand. It's very complicated. Hopefully you guys did that. I was hoping for no tax on tips. I was hoping everything you guys give me is tips. That's what I was hoping. But they don't classify it that way, apparently. Apparently they classify it as earned income. That's all right. I don't make enough money to pay taxes anyway, it turns out. Welcome to the show. We'll see if we make money this year. I have somebody in the chat said hold on to those short positions. I have all of them because some of them are virtually worthless. So it doesn't matter. So I don't care. Some of them are down. Most of them are down like 75% or so far. But I'm not convinced. I made a bet that the Strait of Hormuz would stay closed for a long time, basically. And so far it is still closed. Even worse, even more closed than ever. So if what people claim happens when we have a supply shock like the one we have, then things are about to get really crazy out there. So we'll report on that too. Stock market hit a new high today. NASDAQ, S&P, the Dow is not quite at 50,000, but Trump is saying it again. That's a bad sign. Good. It says, some people say I'm muted. Refresh. That people are saying refresh. I can't hear. I'm having trouble hearing out of my left ear. I have to go to the doctor and have him look at it, I guess. But hopefully you guys are feeling okay. All right, so we have news today. And there's a tweet that came out 30 minutes ago from somebody close to the Iranian government who pretty much nobody pays attention to. It's not considered real news for algorithms that trade stocks or anything like that. If it's true, then tomorrow we could witness one of the biggest crashes of all time. Actually, we might actually be able to witness it in about 10 hours from now. When do stocks open? Stocks take longer than that to open, but there is a threat out there that would be really bad for people, really bad for most people right now. So it will be really bad for gas prices and the world economy, and pretty much guarantee that we're all screwed. I'll be okay. I'll actually make money if it happens, but it's still not good. And my job will become worthless because people won't have any money, probably. But at least I ride a bike to work. That's the good news. The electric bike. At least I use my bike to do my job, and I don't have to worry about burning gas, which could get really expensive. Gas prices have come down. That's one of the things Trump doesn't is Trump is saying a lot of things that are immediately rejected. Here's where we're at today. Okay. According to Trump, there's a ceasefire in Lebanon, but that's not really true. Not according to Iran or Hezbollah. Israel is still not helping us out to make a peace deal. Everybody that matters thinks that we are this close to a peace deal, which will open up the Strait of Hormuz. Oil prices are relatively low, still under $100, but they were up today. They're up a little bit already after hours. So there's a fundamental disagreement, actually, in the world between stocks and other things like oil, VIX, and bonds. But according to everybody invested in stocks, the war is over. For that to remain the case, the war must be over soon. So far, there are no talks scheduled. Trump said they would be today. Today is Thursday, right? Yeah. Trump said they would be today. He said 2 days ago. Stay in Pakistan. Nobody has agreed to any talks. According to Trump, there's a ceasefire in Lebanon. That I don't believe is true. Not in the way that Iran expects and Hezbollah expects. It's a Israeli ceasefire. The typical Israeli ceasefire where they get to keep bombing. Basically, that's what Netanyahu declared. So I'll show you that. According to Trump, Iran has agreed to pretty much everything, including turning over their nuclear material, according to Trump. I'll tell you whether that's been officially confirmed or not. Also, according to Trump, China is very happy and has agreed not to send weapons to Iran. According to Trump, the war is almost over, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Hegseth spoke today. This morning, I tuned in for it. I'll play you some clips from that are amusing. We are at war with the Pope. We are at war with the Pope still, and still comparing ourselves to God, pretty much, or Jesus Christ. Pete Hegseth did that this morning. Pretty much that if you criticize America, it's like criticizing Jesus Christ, which the Pope doesn't like. J.D. Vance said the Pope shouldn't comment about theology, of all things. First, they claim you as being too political. Donald Trump claims the Pope said that Iran should be able to get nuclear weapons, apparently. So it's okay to criticize the Pope. According to one report, Trump is trying to create a break-off faction of the Catholic Church in America, led by a new Pope appointed by Trump. That's according to one tweet, though. I didn't put that in my news report, but according to one person at least. News is very, very difficult to follow, as you can imagine. We have a blockade, according to us, that has blocked all of the ships. According to people that track ships, many ships are ignoring the blockade and are going in and out of Iranian ports without stopping. So you have to decide who to believe. We're recently ramping up pressure from the blockade. Now we have something called Operation Economic Fury, where we're planning to sanction any banks, including Chinese banks, that handle Iranian funds. So we are turning that up. Iran has said they're going to do something about the blockade, which everyone discounts as being possible. If they follow through on that thing, then everything is totally, completely screwed. If they follow through on it, everyone is totally discounting that possibility. And that's what was just threatened to happen either tomorrow, either in about 10 hours, or depending on how the person was counting over the weekend. So we will see if that happens. I would be extremely cautious if you're thinking about buying stocks right now after this run up. They call it a lockout rally because there's been zero pullback to buy the dip the whole time for 12 straight days. It's historic, absolutely historic, the rally in stocks, which is why I came on the show yesterday frustrated, saying that I've been incorrect and that the war is actually over, which I don't believe, but everybody else does. They're convinced, 100% convinced. All of Wall Street, all of everybody that's currently in the stock market. Everybody that was short decided to quit, except for me and a few other people. Nobody is shorting the stock market right now. Nobody is saying that this rally is over. It's been going for 12 days straight. It's totally historic. It's like 15 or 16% on the NASDAQ, 11, 12% or something on the S&P, all-time highs. Just a reminder, before the COVID shutdown, which was totally predictable, that shut down the world economy, the stock market was also at all-time highs. So we're about to see something really basically unprecedented. We're witnessing times that are basically unprecedented right now. And at least as far as financial markets go, people are dizzied and confused. Thanks, Pirate Justin, who says, you hanging in there, Nate? Welcome to Clown World. I am hanging in there. I'm hanging in there, but it's been difficult. It's difficult when you predict something is going to happen and the exact opposite happens, and to an extent where it's totally historic, where you think like the stock market's going to go down, and then you think that because the ceasefire didn't work and that oil will probably go up, and then the ceasefire doesn't work out just like you predicted, and the Strait of Hormuz doesn't open up just like you predicted. Exactly the opposite happens, and everyone says it's like the world, everything is perfect in the whole world, and we're just going to go up forever. It has been difficult for me looking at my portfolio and stuff, which I really shouldn't look at anymore. Fortunately, it's not going down as much every day anymore because most of the things are worthless. But at least my oil call went up today. Oil went up today. So thanks, Frank, for the $5 super sticker. Appreciate that. Brandon says, shut the hell up. You have ads. You are a piece of crap. I am monetized. I turned on my monetization. Thank you. I don't think that was wrong. All right. So anyway, here we are. I'll give you guys the news and the clips and so forth, and I'll show you guys what that threat is, which I've told you guys before. We have all the cards. It is checkmate, according to the U.S. government. According to the U.S. government, we have all the cards, and the blockade is checkmate. I'll play that clip. Iran still has a card, at least one very serious card. So we'll tell you what that is. All right, we'll play the intro and we'll get started. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Sorry I'm not more consistent, but I've had to handle some stuff. I have my dad's service in 2 days, so I've been trying to figure out like what I'm going to say and stuff. So forgive me if I'm not like 100% with it. Thanks for tuning in, and let's play this. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Yes, as close as possible. If you want to support the show in a way that's better than a super chat, although super chats are great, go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. They don't take 30%. They pay fast. Buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. I know I got one right before the show started. I'll make sure to read it. I read them. You leave a note and virtual coffees, and those go toward my coffee budget, which is not as bad as it used to be because I drink coffee at home, but I still order. You know what I do? I order frozen espresso shots, but they're still $2 each, and I use 2 of them, so it's not that cheap. I could probably do it better, but I'm still having iced lattes, but no donuts. Buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. Otherwise, buy t-shirts, which is even better, by going to our store, Truth Revolution Clothing, at truthclothing.io, which is right here, and buy these shirts, which are selling out. Although we have lots of cryptocurrency shirts. Bitcoin is doing well. I should cover Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been doing well. I'll have to look in on it today. Bitcoin has been doing well. Everything has. So you would expect it to. Buy Bitcoin shirts. They're $5 or $10. Like the Bitcoin Save shirt's only $5 now. Bunch of other shirts for $5. Some women's shirts that are really nice for $5 and $10, especially these Question Everything designs. Most popular design. Oops, my trackpad's disconnected. Most popular design. People give you nice comments when they see you wearing them. Let's see. Technical difficulties. Let's see. Okay, excellent. I need my trackpad to work, otherwise we're in trouble. Sorry for that. I turned off my computer trying to plug in this thing. Okay, we're good. Sorry for all the banging. Let's see if this works. No, not yet. Okay, if we hardwire it. So buy t-shirts, going out of business sale. There's nothing wrong with the shirts. They're actually super amazing. Okay, good. We're good. Okay, good. All right. So let's show you some stuff. Pete Hegseth spoke this morning in an indication that things are not going as well as expected, or as in an indication that we might not have a deal immediately. He mostly used the opportunity to threaten Iran. That was most of the speech this morning. It was directly speaking to Iran and saying, we're better than you. It's not a fair fight, he said, and you better make a deal. So indications that we are not close to a deal that aren't what Trump is saying. Although even Trump kind of made that indication too. I think we're nowhere near a deal. That's my opinion. I don't think we're going to make a deal. I can't see Trump making a deal that Iran will accept forever. Their demands on each side are do not meet in the middle. There is no middle that's acceptable for either side, in my opinion. Trump claims different things, but a few things that lead me to believe that we're not close are that Trump in an interview said that gas prices might be the same or higher come midterms, which are a long way away, depending on how you look at time, but many months away. November, it's April still. He said gas prices could be the same or maybe a little higher. He then took that back, but he said that. Okay. Many troops are being moved to the Middle East constantly, every day. It's going to be one of the biggest troop buildups since the Iraq War. Normally, we don't do that unless we're going to use them. The Washington Post reported yesterday that we're planning to invade, to not a full-scale Iran invasion, but to get the nuclear dust, as Trump said, to get the nuclear stuff, which we already probably tried to do once and failed in the fake pilot rescue mission. That's probably what we were doing then. I won't say 100%, but probably almost 100% certainty. That's what we were trying to do when we landed in Isfahan by the nuclear, near the nuclear material, with nuclear scientists and probably bulldozers and stuff, and had to blow it all up. That's probably what we tried to do then. And the Washington Post said we're preparing to do that again and to take over Karg Island, where the oil is shipped from Iran, where almost all of the oil that Iran sells is pipelined to and sold, which we've talked about, which people have talked about them doing before. Those are indications that they're really not expecting to have a deal anytime soon, that gas prices wouldn't be the same. If we're going to have a deal soon, by the end of the ceasefire, which is in like 5 days now, then gas would be cheaper for sure, pretty fast. They'd open up the Strait of Hormuz, theoretically. And, everything would be fine. So those things indicate that it's not true. Pete Hegseth using the opportunity not to celebrate success the way he did after the ceasefire. So I tuned into those briefings at 5 a.m. my time. Wake up and listen. The first time it was just bragging about success. The first speech after the ceasefire was bragging about success. This speech was not bragging about the effectiveness of the blockade, which you would think he would be doing if it was successful. It wasn't any of that stuff. It was threatening Iran directly, like as if he was speaking to Iran. I don't have those clips for you, but I'm just telling you because I tuned in. It was him talking directly to Iran, saying, we're better than you, we're stronger than you, and we're going to fuck you up if you don't agree to a deal. Okay. So that was the speech, which makes me think we actually don't have a deal, right? Lester, thanks for this super chat. Says, glad you're back, Nate. Are you interested in ancient history at all? Like the Greek Roman canon? I don't know what you mean by canon, but yes, I spent a lot of time listening to podcasts about, I went through a whole podcast series of the history of the Roman Empire. So, and as much as any of that actually stayed in my brain, I was interested enough to listen to it like every night for a long time to get through a whole long series of stories about the Roman Empire. So yeah, I am interested. And then the Fall of Civilizations podcast, listen to that too. Those have gotten to be like 6 hours long, though. I don't know how you're supposed to listen to those. But interested in the fall of empires because I think we're pretty damn close, basically. We're pretty damn close. So anyway, here is Hegseth comparing us to Jesus Christ. So we're not stopping doing that. We're still comparing ourselves to Jesus Christ. This is Hegseth saying that. And then where's the other Hegseth? Oh, no. Where's the other Hegseth? He did a fake Bible verse too today. Oh, I don't have that on my timeline. I'll show you that too. That'll be easy to find. All right, here is Hegseth comparing criticism of America to criticism of Jesus Christ. Let's see.
Our press are just like these Pharisees. Not all of you,
Pharisees,
but the legacy Trump-hating press. Your politically motivated animus for President Trump nearly completely blinds you from the brilliance of our American warriors. The Pharisees scrutinized every good act in order to find a violation, only looking for the negative. The hardened hearts of our press are calibrated only to impugn. I would ask you to open your eyes to the goodness, the historic success of our troops, the courage of this president, and this historic moment for a deal that could end the Iranian nuclear threat, the incredible battlefield victory laid before your eyes, the not one, but two incredible rescue missions, miracles, you might say.
Miracles. There you go. Anyway, that was kind of a bad clip to tell it. I guess there's a 3-minute clip. I didn't get that one instead. He set it up by saying that the Pharisees were looking for reasons to criticize Jesus Christ. In the beginning of that clip, he said the press is like the Pharisees, looking for reasons to criticize us who are blessed by God. This is the thing the Pope doesn't like. He made a statement today. He said, "Blessed be the peacemakers, but woe to those who use religion as a justification for war." I'll give you that. Let's see. But here is, before I give you that, here is Pete Hegseth quoting Pulp Fiction, thinking it's the real Bible. Oops, sorry, hold on. Share this tab instead. Thank you.
So the prayer is Ceasefire 25:17, and it reads, and pray with me, please.
The path
of the downed aviator is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who, in the name of camaraderie and duty, shepherd the lost through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to capture and destroy my brother. And you will know my call sign is Sandy 1 when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
So the prayer.
So anyway, I could have played it without the Pulp Fiction thing. That's how people have put it together. Ezekiel 25:17 is what they said in the Pulp Fiction thing. I remember because it was on that was a good soundtrack for that movie. Remember when they used to do movie soundtracks? It was cool. Yeah, they don't do that anymore. Kind of like mixtapes. Oh, I did have it. Oh, that's stupid. So he quoted directly from Pulp Fiction, which was not an accurate Bible quote. So that's good. And he made it up anyway. People are denying that there even was a pilot. I can't say. But because the pilot has not been paraded in front of the media at all, many people doubt there was even a pilot rescue in the first place. I don't know how you guys feel about that. But many of you are doubting that there was actually a pilot rescued at all. I can't say, but definitely the pilot, most people are saying that if the pilot was really rescued, the pilot would be at the White House, the pilot would be doing a media tour, etc. Meanwhile, we don't know who the pilot was. So True Romance has a awesome soundtrack. You know, True Romance was also written by Tarantino. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. And it bombed in the box office, but now it's a cult classic where they do like thing at the hotel that it was shot at, where the guy from that mob TV show beats her up and stuff. Beats up what's her name? I forget stuff from time to time. But yeah, they do like a thing every year for True Romance. Great movie. Written by Tarantino, directed by the director of Top Gun. It was because Tarantino wanted to direct Reservoir Dogs. Otherwise, it would have been directed by Tarantino. But he was doing Reservoir Dogs at the same time. So, yeah, one of the best movies. Best cast of all time. Almost everything. All right, so here's some clips of Trump on Maria Bartiromo. This is where he said the war is over and the stock market pumped. He said the war is almost over, etc. Here he is just saying things that are some things that are false. Like I think he's lost. I do think, like, I know it's TDS to say, but I genuinely think he has a personality disorder, which is getting worse. One of which things is that he lies. Apparently, he says that he constantly says that his dad was born in Germany, but he wasn't. He was born in New York. That's one of the things he apparently says all the time. So he's kind of like Biden in some ways. Like Biden just lied a lot, right? Like he said he would say he went to different schools that he went to and stuff. But now Trump does that too. He doesn't seem to understand things. So here he is exhibiting that trait on this interview. So, oops.
It's going to give you
Well, we're going to have to find out he might die.
give different from. You think Tom Tillis is going to give you
Well, we're going to have to find out he might die, but that's why Tom Tillis is no longer a senator.
on the
You know,
AI
Tom
thing?
Tillis is no longer a senator, right? He
Well,
quit.
he's on his way out.
Well, no, he quit, but he quit. But,
And you think
he will
Kevin
be
Prince
fine.
can get
I like how she doesn't challenge him. Maria Bartiromo is such a shill. I guess that's why he sits down with her. She chooses not to challenge him on something he says that's false, which is that Tom Tillis is no longer a senator. No, he's not running for re-election, but he's still a senator until January. He also said something totally false about Justice Ginsburg too. Recently, I really do think he's lost. He also does things that are like episodes where he's doing like rapid tweeting all night long, or at least late into the evening. He's just tweeting. He's doing Truth Social posts over and over and over again, like he's lost his mind or having like a bipolar episode. Here's another statement he made, which is kind of quizzical.
I've read the greatest. Look, I ended 8 wars. A 9th is coming, but I ended 8 wars. Nobody's ever ended 1 war. Who's ended 1? Nobody. I ended 8. We have the biggest. I've read.
And it's so funny because he's up to 10 now, because he's trying to say, like, he's up to 10 now. He said, I think today, because number 9 is the war in Lebanon, which he says he ended, even though Israel hasn't agreed to anything, basically. And then he's counting, I think, ending the war in Iran, which he started. So he's going to count that one too to get his Peace Prize. And then we're going to invade Cuba. And then and then he's going to say that's 11 because he ended the war in Cuba. If any wars you start is any wars, but no one's ever ended a war ever. I don't know. That's a difficult one. Who's ever done that? Let me just hear him.
The greatest, look, I ended 8 wars. A 9th is coming. But I ended 8 wars. Nobody's ever ended 1 war. Who's ended 1? Nobody. I ended 8.
Who's ended 1? Nobody. Okay. Here's just a non sequitur. Same interview.
Did you see Europe is now drafting a program and plan to open up the Hormuz Strait without the United States?
They're so sad. We're doing it now. By the way, it's opening. The ships are coming back and forth. Oh, without the United States. It just shows you, how can you have a country, how can you have a group of countries with that attitude? Look at Greenland. We should have Greenland to protect the world against Russia and China. The mention of it, all of a sudden they get, this country should not be paying trillions of dollars to NATO.
All right, anyway, sorry. Wasn't as good as I thought. Sometimes I don't preview the clips. It was say change the subject to Greenland, but it didn't make sense. Here we go. Here's a good one. Top priorities.
Sir, what are your top priorities now for the economy for the rest of the year?
To be honest, we are doing so well. You look at this. I hit the 50,000 Dow mark, which everyone said couldn't happen in 4 years. I did it in 1 year. I hit the 7,000 S&P mark in less than 1 year, which was a number, as you know, you reported it. They said if at the end of 4 years you hit those numbers, I did it at the end of a year. And I said, now we have to do a little bit of a turn, a detour to a place called Iran, and we have to stop them from ever having a nuclear weapon.
Anyway, 50,000 S&P. We're not there yet. We're not back at Dow 50,000, but we are back above 7,000 S&P. I think we're at 7,040. Some technical person said if we get to 7120, I can kiss my hopes of it ever going down again. Goodbye. There's some technical line there, I guess. We'll find out. We'll find out tomorrow. Could be a big day, but who knows? It's impossible to predict the future. It could pump too. But let's see. All right. So Dow 50,000, S&P 7,000. All right. Here is Vice President J.D. Vance went to a TPUSA event where he was supposed to appear next to Erica Kirk, who didn't show up at the last minute because of security concerns. Of note, the auditorium that they booked for the event was only 1/4 occupied, very low attendance. And there would have been security for the vice president there. And it's indoors and relatively easy to control. But we're supposed to believe that they would have security for the vice president, who, you know, the Secret Service probably wants to protect. And that wasn't good enough for Erica Kirk. I don't know about that. So anyway, here he is answering. We are on the economy. So here he is asking a question about the economy from somebody and just discounting people's struggles, basically.
Seeing different sides of a somewhat similar narrative, how would you respond to somebody who says that the only way to succeed in this country is to come from a generationally wealthy family?
That's a good question. Wow, I didn't expect that one. Well, first of all, it's just not true. And I think that one of the things that, a very powerful thing that somebody told me is that, disadvantage and unfairness, it is true. Not everybody started at the exact same place. Some people were dealt a much worse hand than others. But what somebody, again, this person gave me a very good piece of advice and said, no matter what hand you were dealt, you have the responsibility to play it as well as you can. And I think that for me, at least, there was something empowering for me about recognizing that, yeah, my life wasn't as easy as most other kids. Like I wasn't born with money. I wasn't born with parents who had connections, but I still had a responsibility to God. I had a responsibility to myself to play that hand as well as I possibly could. And that was very empowering to me. So I think first the message is, look at the stories, look at Clarence Thomas, look at all the people in the United States who have come from very humble beginnings and achieved great things. You can believe, as I do, that we have to do a lot better job by the young people of this country, while at the same time knowing that you are the master of your own destiny. Never give up on yourself and never believe that you're a victim of circumstances, because when you believe that.
There you go. It's not a bad message, really, but very difficult considering. Anyway, I don't think he ever got a job that wasn't handed to him by Peter Thiel. I think he got fake jobs because he's like a talented politician who was recruited from early age. And then he's exceptionally smart. He got into a good college and stuff. But yeah, it is difficult to make it. What about people, just times are different. That's all. You used to be able to get by with a menial job. They not only get by, but do very well in the 60s and early 70s. If you just had a regular job, working behind the meat counter, being a cashier, you made enough money to actually buy a car, live, and maybe even buy a house, maybe even support a family, which is just completely impossible now. And Trump's saying that he has no plans for the economy because the stock market's doing well. Well, most people don't have stocks. The people who have stocks are already kind of wealthy compared to people who don't, where it's the ultimate K-shaped economy. And then everybody just gambles now, basically. Here's a good one. Telling people not here. This is a good one. This is about the Middle East. If you disagree on the Middle East, so let's see.
Issues like for example, I recognize that a lot of young voters don't love the policy that we have in the Middle East. Okay, I understand that. I also know that we've secured the border. We've lowered housing prices now for 8 months in a row, and there's going to be more to come beyond that.
What?
We've made America
We've lowered
energy
housing
dominant,
prices,
which has lowered electricity costs and things like that. We've made it so that we have the lowest murder rate in 127 years. I'm not saying you have to agree with me on every issue.
but the murder rate thing is so stupid because crime was worst in Democrat cities where Trump wasn't allowed to send the National Guard, where they said that criminals are running free, and they said that these Democrat cities are the biggest problems. But actually, I mean, I'm not saying I like Democrats or anything. I'm not trying to say they did something right, but crime is down primarily because it's down in those Democrat cities, which had the highest crime rate, murder and stuff like that. So like taking credit for what policy made the murder rate go down in Chicago, in New York, in Los Angeles? What policy from the Trump administration did that? They can't point to a single one. So the murder rate is down, good, but he sent the National Guard to a few Republican cities. Maybe it made a difference in DC, but the murder rate in Baltimore is down. Democrat governor, Democrat mayor, no troops, no nothing. So I don't know. I mean, we deported some people. I'm sure maybe that helped, but it wasn't, we haven't deported that many people. It's normal for presidents to take credit for things they have nothing to do with, but anyway.
I'm not saying you have to agree with me on every issue. What I'm saying is don't get disengaged because you disagree with the administration on one topic. Get more involved. Make your voice heard even more. That's how we ultimately take the country back. It's not by you, you know, if you get 5 things you want and 1 thing you don't want.
That's the funny part. If you disagree about the war with Iran, get engaged. That's how you take your country back. But the question is, take your country back from whom? You mean from Donald Trump and your administration? That was the funny part. That's how you take your country back. From Israel? Kind of an interesting thing to say. So anyway, that was him and his thing. Okay. More comparisons to Jesus Christ. Sorry, I forgot this one. Here's another comparison to Jesus Christ. Here we go.
I do. I believe that Donald Trump is better than sliced bread. I think he's almost the second coming, in my humble opinion. I think he's done a fantastic job. He's got a very difficult.
Trump is almost the second coming, according to Republican Congressperson Troy Nels. Okay, now you heard it. Almost the second coming. Okay. In confusing news. People say there's going to be an extension of the ceasefire. Many people have said there's going to be an extension of the ceasefire. The news reported there was going to be an extension of the ceasefire. So much so that the press secretary had to say this.
Yes, so I saw some reporting, again, bad reporting this morning, that we had formally requested an extension of the ceasefire. That is not true at this moment. We remain very much engaged in these negotiations, in these talks. You heard from the vice president directly and the president this week that these conversations are productive and ongoing, and that's where we are right now. I've also seen some.
Okay, so not an extension of the ceasefire, she says, contrary to news reports. This guy, the IRGC spokesman, says we will hold the Strait of Hormuz until Iran's rights are secured. I oppose extending the ceasefire. This is only a pause, not peace. Any ground invasion of Iran would fail both technically and militarily. By the way, the Russians are claiming that the ceasefire is fake and that we're about to do a ground invasion. That's their analysis of it. Here is reporting from today from Reuters. U.S. and Iranian negotiators have scaled back ambitions for a comprehensive peace deal and are instead seeking a temporary memorandum to prevent a return to conflict, 2 Iranian sources told Reuters. And then this reporter says, U.S. officials tell me this is not true. So who knows what the truth is? There was a report that the Europeans say that peace talks might take 6 months. So they're recommending a ceasefire for 6 months until negotiations can be settled. So once again, the stock market expects a ceasefire, expects basically peace and the strait opening within a week, pretty much. The ceasefire is up in 5 days now. That's pretty much what the stock market is priced to expect perfectly. You will hear said today, and it was claimed by Donald Trump, that there's a ceasefire in Lebanon. Even Iran said there's a ceasefire in Lebanon. Then, according to Israeli news, the Israeli Security Council was super mad to hear that. One Israeli close to the government said that the United States surrendered to Iran. And the Prime Minister of Israel made a speech saying that they don't agree to Hezbollah's definition of a ceasefire. So that's right here, where he says to achieve this ceasefire, Hezbollah insisted on two conditions. First, that Israel must withdraw from all Lebanese territory back to the international border. Second, a ceasefire based on the quiet for quiet model. That's what a ceasefire is, when you don't fire at each other. And it says, I agreed to neither of these. And indeed, those two conditions are not being met. And apparently since then, Iran says that they don't consider it a ceasefire until Israel withdraws from Lebanon, which I don't think they're going to do. So we actually have no official ceasefire actually yet, according to the terms. According to the terms laid down by Iran and the terms laid down by the United States, there is no ceasefire. And if there is, then you have to argue that a blockade is actually a breaking of the ceasefire too. But the United States, when Trump first truthed it, he said that once the Strait of Hormuz is completely open, then we have a ceasefire. So, and obviously the Strait of Hormuz isn't open. And Iran said there has to be a ceasefire in Lebanon, which now there isn't. And also they said they have to get their money unfrozen. They need a bunch of money too. And they're demanding war reparations, which I'll show you news about that too. Here's Scott Bessent, who's our Treasury Secretary, about the economy. So let's see.
Why aren't we seeing this sentiment? Why are people feeling better?
Well, I when I was in the investment business, there are consumer surveys, but I used to look at what are the people really doing. So at Treasury, we have loads of CEOs come through, whether they're in retail, credit card, the banks, and the consumer, while they may be sounding grim, is actually quite buoyant. Mm-hmm. So we are seeing spending has been very solid across most categories.
So they might not feel good, but...
Well, look, in their heart of hearts, they feel good. I'm not sure what they're telling the survey people.
There you go. Consumer sentiment, lowest reading on record. People who say they're worse off than a year ago due to higher prices is the highest on record ever, more than during Biden and more than anything else. So that's the consumer sentiment surveys that she's talking about. I don't know how you feel. So consumer sentiment, all-time low. People who feel like they're worse off than they were a year ago, all-time high. But he says in their heart of hearts, but it's true, people are still spending. That's because people aren't yet. Gas prices aren't high enough yet. And stocks are still high. So people who have stocks are still spending. But let's see. So the other thing Iran is demanding is war reparations. So Trump, the Israeli person who said Trump surrendered, he is kind of surrendering because he made Israel agree to a ceasefire, kind of, but now they really didn't. So I think that's gone out the window. But he attempted to make Israel agree to a ceasefire. And he has apparently told Iran that they're going to get war reparations. They're demanding $270 billion. And then they'll maybe open the Strait of Hormuz. They're closing the Strait of Hormuz to collect tolls to compensate for the war. And until they're compensated, they're going to keep it closed. If they're going to open the Strait of Hormuz, they want a ton of money, basically. And Trump has apparently agreed on behalf of Arab countries that they'll pay the $270 billion. So Trump is saying that today. I'm sure it's not true. I'm sure they didn't agree. That's all. But here he is saying that they did.
Are you going to make the Arab countries pay a portion of all of the costs?
I think they'll make that. I think they're going to make that contribution. I think the Arab countries, because we've done a lot, I think they'd make a contribution toward the cost.
There you go. So he is telling Iran that we're going to do stuff, like we're going to release funds and all that. But I just think it's all noise. I think we're saying we're going to make a deal with them, but we're not planning to follow through on anything, basically. And we can't control Israel. We can't control them. So here he is asked if he would extend the ceasefire. So we still have a question about whether they're going to try to extend the ceasefire. Iran has announced that all schools go to remote learning starting the last day of the ceasefire. So Iran is prepared for the ceasefire to be over. It's the 21st, 5 days. Which makes it what? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So we have only until Tuesday. No meeting has been scheduled yet. Trump is trying to make concessions, including claiming that the Gulf states will pay those reparations. This is all to open the Strait of Hormuz. So here he is talking about the ceasefire.
Look at the price we're paying. It's about half what people thought it would be if you did what I had to do. We had to take this journey to the Middle East in order to get rid of a nuclear weapon. There would have been, if we didn't hit it with the B-2 bombers, or if I didn't kill the Barack Hussein-Obama deal, the nuclear deal, which was a disaster, we would have had nuclear weapons exploding in the Middle East and beyond. I believe I've been able to stop that. I think we have a very successful negotiation going on right now. And I think it'll be, if it happens, it'll be announced fairly soon. And that'll give us free oil, free Hormuz Strait. Everything will be nice. And I think your oil price will go down to lower than what it was before. And I think a lot of good things will happen.
There you go.
Just for clarity, you're willing to extend the ceasefire?
Well, we'll see. I don't know that we'll have to. Ideally, but if I needed to, I would.
So there's the ceasefire. So ideally, we won't have to. We're going to have a deal before Tuesday. He said that Iran has agreed to no nuclear weapons and to turn over the nuclear dust. Here.
The big thing we have to do is we have to make sure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon, because if they do, you want to talk about problems, you'd have problems. So very important is that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon, and they've agreed to that. Iran's agreed to that, and they've agreed to it very powerfully. They've agreed to give us back the nuclear dust that's way underground because of the attack we made with the B-2 bombers. So we have a lot of agreement with Iran, and I think something's going to happen very positive.
There you go. So he said they've agreed. It's nuclear. It's gas. My understanding is that it's gas. It's enriched uranium in a gaseous form. 400 kilograms or about 1,000 pounds. I don't know why he calls it dust. My understanding is that it's in gaseous form. That's all. Dust. I don't know why he says that. The Iranians strongly reject that statement. So, contrary to Trump's claim, no form of nuclear material transport to America has been negotiated. That's what the Iranians are saying. Okay, so here he is about gas prices, seeming to be a little confused.
Gas prices, how much longer will Americans continue to see these high gas prices?
Well, they're not very high. If you look at what they were supposed to be in order to get rid of a nuclear weapon with the danger that entails. So the gas prices have come down very much over the last 3-4 days. I know, that's what ABC says. But the fact is that if you look at the stock market's up, everything's doing really well.
Gas prices, how much longer?
He's like, gas prices have come down. In California, gas prices have come down 20 cents at my local gas station, which is kind of more than I expected. Went from $5.59 to $5.39 at my local gas station, which is one of the cheap ones, one of the cheapest in the area. Went from $5.59 to $5.39. I was surprised it went down so much. But gas prices nationwide are still over $4 a gallon. They haven't gone down much. It's like they've gone down a lot in the last 3 days. I don't know. You tell me if they've really gone down a lot. And the oil prices were up today. Not much, but they were up 2% today. So anyway, there's that. Here he is talking about the Pope.
No, I don't. I have to do what's right. The Pope has to understand that. Very simple. I have nothing against the Pope. His brother's MAGA all the way. I like his brother, Louis. I'm not fighting with him. The Pope made a statement. He says Iran can have a nuclear weapon. I say Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And if the Pope looked at the 42,000 people that were killed over the last 2 or 3 months as a protester with no weapons, no nothing, I mean, you take a look at that. So I could disagree with the Pope. I have right to disagree.
Anyway, he didn't say that. She said he didn't say that. He didn't say that. You can rest assured. He didn't say Iran can have a nuclear weapon at all. But he made that part up too. So anyway, that was Trump on the lawn today, I guess, getting ready to get on his helicopter. Here is Stephen Miller saying how great everything is, how greatly the blockade is going. I'll show you that.
They said the president had no plan to secure the strait, and looks like it's going pretty well.
Never listen to a panickin, Jesse. You will do very well in life. Ignore the panicins, right? They were the ones who warned of calamity in Venezuela and ended up being one of the greatest single foreign policy, military, geopolitical maneuvers in world history. What you're watching now in Iran with the implementation of this blockade is the total resetting of the American power dynamic for the next 100 years. President Trump is saying, we, the United States, have the world's not just most powerful military, most powerful navy. And whoever controls the seas is able to control the outcomes in any foreign policy showdown. And so President Trump has put Iran in a box. He's played the checkmate move. And so now, no matter what path Iran chooses, America wins. If Iran chooses the path of a deal, then that's great for the world. That's great for everybody. If Iran chooses the path of economic strangulation by blockade, then the world will pass Iran by. New energy routes will be established. New supply chains will be established. Other nations throughout the region, throughout the world, and especially America, will power the world, and Iran will become a footnote. So that's the choice Iran has, and President Trump has put America into a win-win posture.
Okay, so it's win-win. There's nothing Iran can do, apparently, that would be a loss for America or the world economy. That's something I strongly question. There are many things they have threatened to do that they have not done yet, one of which they might do tomorrow, which in terms of setting up new routes, it's hard to recreate geography, especially in a hurry. But apparently, according to Stephen Miller, checkmate, no matter what Iran does, we win. All right. So I'm going to say that's an open question. There are many things Iran has not done yet, which they're capable of doing. Here he is about to say we're going to do a final solution on Iran. Let's see.
And this embargo and every other option is on the table as President Trump seeks that final, safe, secure outcome for the people of the world.
So he was going to say final solution, I guess. People speculate, which is supposedly what they said in Nazi Germany, but I don't know. Final solution. Here's some more stuff Trump said, which is unbelievable. Truth, China is very happy that I am permanently opening the Strait of Hormuz. That's funny. It seems permanently opening the Strait of Hormuz. I am doing it for them also and the world. They have agreed not to send weapons to Iran. President Xi will give me a big fat hug when I get there in a few weeks, he said. So China immediately denied that. That's all. So Trump said that Iran is going to give them the nuclear dust. Iran came out and denied that emphatically. He said that China is not going to send weapons to Iran, and China denied that emphatically. As far as your financial news, oil was up today a couple percent, which is interesting because stocks were up also. Normally they move opposite. If things are really over the way stocks think, then oil should be going down rapidly. Instead, it's not. Oil is still at, I'm going to give you the exact current price. I think it's $93 for crude. $93.39 currently for crude oil. It says down 1.3%, so it's falling. No, not really. So it's at 93.39. It was up about 2% today from about 91 today. So oil doesn't believe it. Oil doesn't believe it. This says that people are paying in Asia over $200 per barrel currently. And that there were barrels of oil sold in Sri Lanka for $286 per barrel. So and the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. And if you want oil now, and the last deliveries of oil have just taken place, and once again, the Strait of Hormuz is still closed, more closed than before, supposedly, because of the U.S. blockade. Fertilizer prices, which is how they make food, is they're up 87% year to date. Fertilizer prices are not falling and could go up a lot higher. There's about to be a jet fuel shortage all over the world. There's about to be a jet fuel shortage where within like 3 weeks or something. So something's got to give. Okay, this is the thing here's the report. Iran says that that they need a full Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon. So there is no actual ceasefire as far as Iran is concerned, which Trump tried to enforce but failed. Okay. Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson is claiming there's a possible collapse in demand for treasuries. Treasury yields were up today, which is predicting inflation. He claims that there's going to be a collapse in demand for treasuries, which would make yields go up, make everything much, much worse. One thing that's happened is yields have gone up a lot, and that's bad for stocks. So he's predicting that. The IMF's predicting some stuff. People suddenly, investors suddenly think stocks are not overvalued, which is interesting because according to metrics that judge whether a stock market is overvalued, it's actually one of the highest readings of all time. After which, if you buy stocks at today's prices, you shouldn't expect any returns for a decade at the levels that stocks are, like the CAPE ratio. They're the most overvalued, more overvalued than during the before the crash in 1929. To where you shouldn't expect any returns on the stock market for a decade if you buy stocks today. And this is what I teased. And this, if it's true, this is a guy who's close to the Iranian government, who tweets out stuff that's fairly accurate most of the time. He knew about the ceasefire with Lebanon early today. I follow him. Knew about the ceasefire earlier today. He said at 1 a.m. Iran time, so it's already tomorrow in Iran. He said, starting from noon tomorrow, the initial steps to block the Bab al-Mandeb will be taken. So this is the one card, basically, that's left that which has been threatened all week from people in the Iranian administration, totally ignored by everybody. Nobody thinks it's going to happen. This is the strait that controls traffic out of the Red Sea. If this is true, then tomorrow could be one of the biggest stock market crashes of all time, basically. It might not be true. They've threatened it a number of times and not followed through. But the Houthis can block the Red Sea. That's another 12% of traffic, but it's actually a lot more than that now, because some of the disruption from the Strait of Hormuz is being alleviated because they're pumping oil west to the Red Sea, and everybody's going to the Red Sea instead. The Houthis can close the strait. They've done it before, and we couldn't stop them. No matter how many bombs we dropped. We tried. Couldn't stop them. Well, eventually, we came to an agreement to stop. We have some kind of treaty with them. If they suddenly close that strait, then I'm serious. That's when oil goes to 150, 200. Who knows? I have no idea how bad things can get. But if that happens, and if he said it at 1 a.m., starting from noon tomorrow, which if he meant tomorrow the way most people do at 1 a.m., and they mean the same day, technically, then it's possible they'll block the Bab al-Mandeb Strait. That, to me, is a card that the Iranians hold that they can play at any time, which they have refrained from playing so far. So if that's true, then oil will go directly to $150 a barrel, maybe even tomorrow. I mean, I don't even know. And the stock market would just absolutely crash. It would go limit down, and then who knows from there. So we'll see. We get to find out. I would just be cautious. I don't know. I've been wrong. And it might not happen. They might wait until the ceasefire is over. Who knows? But they've threatened to do this thing. Close the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, which is the strait that controls traffic out of the Red Sea, which is where everything is currently being diverted to. All the oil sold from Saudi Arabia and everything else. So if they do that, then just look out. It could be insane. So let's see. We'll find out. That would be in about less than 10 hours, I think. because he tweeted that 2 hours ago, 1 a.m. their time. If he meant 12 noon, the same technical calendar day, then that was 11 hours from his tweet. We're like 9 hours away now. So we have to find out. We'll find out before stock markets open tomorrow morning. So depends on what he means by the initial steps to block the Bob Almendab Strait. But we'll see if anybody picks up on that reporting. So it has 73,000 views. It's not considered an account that, like I said, algorithms react to or anything else. So we'll find out. But if that happens, then it'll be insane. It will be one of the craziest days ever. So let's see. All right. So that's what we have to look forward to, possibly in a very short period of time. And now we'll find out. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Let me check my coffees. Thank you for the super chats today. Appreciate that. I got a couple. And I did get a coffee before the show started. Let me refresh. That's at buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. Jewel Lightheart says, sorry, Nathan, about to be unemployed. Oh, shit. Going home to New Zealand whilst I still can. Last coffee for a while. Much love. Well, thanks. You didn't need to send me one if you're about to be unemployed. Maybe a lot of people are about to be. We'll see. But thanks, Jewel. Last coffee for a while. That's fine. Thanks for the support over time, Jewel. I appreciate you. I appreciate you sending me that last coffee. I'll treasure it. I'll think about it while I'm drinking coffee tomorrow morning. Thank you for that. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Let's see what happens tomorrow. See if they close the Bob Almendab Strait. That would be crazy. I won't give it a super high likelihood, but it's possible. All right. So thanks everybody. Appreciate you guys. And we'll see you at the next one. Joe says, I bought you 3 coffees. I think, Joe P. Thank you. Joe P bought 3 coffees, says, thanks for the content. Always enjoy your perspective. I didn't realize that one was new. And Prague bought a coffee actually after my last show. Says, hey, Nathan, for your last show. Hope you're well and appreciate you. Thanks, Prague. Sorry. So thank you for all those coffees. That's great. Much appreciated. Giving money the better way. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody, for the coffees. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate you. All right. We'll see you at the next one. Let's find out. And for now, that's what it is.